What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Next Win podcast with your host, Aunt Ma, co-host Justin Vaseur, special lender guest, William Wynn. This is the first episode of our 1 hour. If you guys don't know, on Spotify, all podcast platforms, you hear this 1 hour episode, but what you don't see is on YouTube, we break them down in 15-minute parts. And we really love this. If you guys like it or you don't, let us know. Let us know what topics you want us to talk about. Put them down in the comments. We would really love how we can help you guys get your next win. So today, because there's a lot of things going on in the market, right? Rates are high. Home prices are getting high. So people are kind of in this middle of like, well, isn't renting better? So today we're going to talk about the differences between being a homeowner and a renter and what is better. And so we all of us have been renters at one point in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And I'm sure everyone in the world has been a renter unless you live with your mom for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of benefits to renting. Right now, like when did you first start renting, Justin? And why?
I was, I think, like 24, 25 when I was, what was that? Like 6 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
No. 7 years ago. Damn. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I started
Youngin.
renting.
He's got a baby.
Yeah. I started renting because I just felt like it was time for me to get out.
Yeah.
Get out of the house. And I just always had this idea of like, I wanted to have a cool place.
Yeah.
And the first spot that I got was like a really cool loft.
Nice.
And yeah, and I've been renting ever since.
Nice. So that's a great reason. For me, I moved out when I turned 18. A week later, I moved out. That's when I started renting. And then from that point on, I rented almost my whole life. I would probably, when there are some hardships, move back to my parents for a year and then rent again, move back for a year, rent again. So I went through a lot of hardships ever since I was 18. And I'm gonna tell you guys this. I went through a lot. I thought that it was a great idea to move out when I was 18. I was in a household where there's just so much discipline. I couldn't do a lot of things, controlled a lot, and I just wanted to be free. And I would say that was the biggest, stupidest financial decision I've ever made, because I had to work 3 jobs and go to school. I was, like selling drugs at the time to keep up with payments, things like that. And so always having to pay for, those things, and then going out as a young kid because you want to go out, meet girls and things like that. I spent a lot of money, renting. And it took a lot longer for me to get to where I am now, into have money to buy a business, buy a home and things like that. So renting early killed my finances. So for me, it was a bad idea, but it was a good way for me to get out of the house.
Yeah.
So it's really like, what is that one thing that you wouldn't trade for the world, and it was like to get out of the house.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know any better. If I just saved for another year or two, I could have done better.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of young people want right now is like, I want to be free, but we're telling you from experience,
It's a setback.
just suck it up and live free at your parents' house while you can.
Yeah, and save.
And save. We have clients that live in parents' house and they're just saving money, dude. They're like,
Yeah.
they're living in their parents' house, but I got $200,000 in my savings. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's so crazy.
like what?
There's a lot of people who live with their parents and they don't
help.
save.
Yeah, yes. that too.
They're just going out all the time and they go out with their friends.
Yeah.
I'll buy the drinks tonight for you guys.
That was me. Guilty.
Yeah.
That was me. So same thing. So he went out when 18. I stayed in, but I just used my money for stupid reasons. So
Yeah.
from our experience, like stay home, but save your money. Like
Yeah.
you can have all the time. It'll be more fun to party when you have money when you're older. I promise you that.
Yeah. So
my situation was like, I was able to save money.
yeah.
And I had like 20 to 25 grand.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, I didn't have any knowledge about buying a home or anything. I thought it was just like, because I have no credit or whatever, I just had to like rent. And then even then it was not difficult, but like I know they had to look at like credit history and things like that. So to to avoid that, I'd like hit them up in an email and I'm like, hey, I can put this much down, like 6 months down or 3 months, I think it was. And can we go that route? And then they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
if I would have like done more research into buying a property, maybe there was some like loopholes or things that I could have gone around to actually get my first property.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
I think that's something we're missing in social media is that there's all these gurus talking about what you should do with houses and things like that. But no one tells us when we should buy a house or what we need to do at the beginning of our life. Like we're all missing that dad that should be teaching us these things.
I think a lot of our generation, like especially like when, like we didn't have internet really. Like growing up, we didn't have internet. We didn't have these people like us, kind of like trying to help the kids, help the future, right? Because we had to do all this through experiences and learn. Yeah. And I think that's why I started this podcast to kind of like help the younger generation start better than we did.
Yeah, we're now the old men that can pass out,
because our parents are immigrants, right? They're just worried about keeping a roof over our heads. Yeah, exactly. And they're learning too. They have no time to learn about real estate, and now we're learning that through our experiences. Now we're just trying to make our next generation of our people, you know, get better.
So. Yeah, I mean, like I have a 3-year-old son, and the first thing I'm going to teach him when he turns 18 is save your money and buy a home, dude.
Yep. Same thing with my kids. I'm stay home with me, just learn all the stuff, learn all the financial stuff, and just start off with a good foundation.
It's also the how though. So like, for example, I was getting that advice. It was like, save your money, buy a home, have a family, right? Yeah. But I'm like, okay, how do I do that? Yeah. How do I buy a home? Yeah. You know?
Yeah. My dad said the same thing, but he'll say it like once every 5 years. And I'm like, I don't even know what that meant. It's just like, oh, okay, when I get older. Yeah. Right? Exactly. When I'm ready.
Yeah, when I'm ready.
It's like, you gotta prepare right now for that. So it's like, I would teach my son once he's like first job, put $300 into your bank account, and every paycheck put $300, and that's gonna go towards your house.
We're actually doing that with our kids right now. Like we have a tax jar. I don't know if anyone follows social media. If you see in front of my TV, there's a tax jar. Yeah. So when they do chores, we'll give them money, but we take off taxes. We put it in the tax jar.
Dang.
Yeah. So
what are you gonna do with the tax jar?
We'll keep them saving for something nice for them. But that sits there. That's the tax jar.
So is it now that we don't give our kids like savings for a college fund? It's like for a house.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is that better?
I just put money away. So some people have put money away for their college, because some kids, like through our experiences, like my experience, a lot of people that we make more money than a lot of people that have degrees, right? They wasted schools and degrees, and a lot of those people that have degrees don't want to use the degrees, right?
Yeah, so I agree with that. But people that did go to college and like, obviously we're doing financially better. Yeah. But I do feel like they are well more educated than us or than me. Like I feel like I could have, if I went to school, my vocabulary would be a lot more.
Yeah, education
my knowledge would be a lot more.
Yeah, education that difference, like book smart. You can say that, but you can be book smart too.
You can.
I think you have to really like look into your child and see like what type of person they are.
Because like figure it out.
Yeah, because like even with my sisters, one of them's like really into school and studies and goes to school and like stays there in the library. Loves and then the other one is like kind of like me, more of an artist and doesn't care about school, blah blah. So obviously it'd be good to help both of them.
Yep. So do you think your sister that loves school, she's more of the Ivy League type of college person?
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow.
Like straight A's, everything. Like,
that's awesome. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like that kid is probably going to get scholarships or grants or financial aid.
For sure.
Stuff like that. So like, why save for a college fund when she's going to need a house? Whether you go to college or not, you need a house.
Even my girl, she did amazing in school. Yeah. And luckily it paid off, for her. Mm-hmm. But there's also people that go through the whole college experience and get in debt, and then they don't even use their degree anymore because...
That's why.
So it's just like a hard.
That's why. And what I tell now is, if you're gonna go to college, get a degree, get something that's like useful. And then it's stereotypical where your parents just say, "Go be a doctor."
Yeah.
Now I say yes. If you're gonna go to college, either be a doctor, attorney, an engineer, something specific. Like you're gonna use that degree because you can make a lot of money. I mean, you can make a lot of money on the long run, just stable, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I still think college is important because you open up your mind to everything. Like diverse, you meet different types of people, different cultures. You just learn how much. That's why I spent like 5 years in the CSUN. So it really opened my mind really.
So we're learning a lot about these life experiences, which is absolutely valuable insight that you can't really get anywhere else, guys. These are absolute gems. Yeah. And so I kind of want to bring it back into renting and being a homeowner. So we talked about what's bad about renting, but some benefits about renting is it's stress free for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
If you're like year to year and you have good landlords, it's totally stress free.
Yes.
Because you don't got to take care of if something was to break.
Yes.
Right. You just tell the landlord, they get it fixed.
Yep.
Right. So it's like, Mom, Dad, the pipe's broke, and they fix it just like that.
Yeah. And then if you live in like a luxury apartment, like we've done before, like everything's taken care of. Like, and the washing machine broke because I'm gonna come with washing machine, like someone like townhouse style.
Yeah.
Washing machine broke. Same day you get a new washing machine.
Wow. Yeah.
Like water. Like we had one time when the water heater broke. Same day they came and replaced the water heater, like no cost. So that's something that normally a homeowner, that's like a lot of money, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's some of the stress free thing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other stress part is like every year you go, how much are you gonna raise my rent? You know?
Oh yeah.
So. Oh, I never thought about that. I think because most places I stayed at was just 1 year, and I'll move to another place.
Oh yeah, no. Some people stay. A lot of people stay long. We stayed for an apartment for a long time too. So it's you get good with people and like the big properties, and then they probably won't raise it as high. But they're it's a business.
Yeah,
they want to make more money.
So I think one of the biggest things is just the stress free of major damages,
maintenance,
right?
And,
so like
maintenance and everything.
If the roof was leaking,
you don't have to worry about it.
Then
phone call.
Then landlord's got to spend like $20,000 for a new roof.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do that. That's the great part about renting. I mean, you've been renting for you said like 7 years now. What do you like about it?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Just everything's taken care of. You don't really have to think about anything. You just call somebody up. Hey, this thing's broken. Come fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you don't have to pay for that. Yeah.
I don't think we've been in this situation, but this is something that happens often to a lot of renters. And because you rent, you don't get to say when you want to leave the house during your term.
Yeah.
So, for example, while you're renting, you can think everything's fine. And then the landlord can say, I'm selling the house.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you're like,
that's the scary part.
You're like, oh, I got to move like in 30 days.
Yep.
Damn, I need to look for a place.
Yeah.
So like you don't have the decision of what you get to do with a house. That's the bad part about renting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anytime,
even big apartments, right, where we used to rent a big apartment, a luxury apartment.
Yeah.
They were selling to another corporation, and that was scary because they're gonna come in, remodel everything. They're gonna increase like rent because they're remodeling, and that's the scary part too. Like you're in an apartment, you don't know what's gonna happen. So that's the uncertainty.
You can't control the house that you live in.
Yes, you can't control what's
they
gonna
can
happen.
say like, hey, we want to, like you said, remodel. So we want to build something. You guys gotta get out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, or like a month, or like find some place out, and then they're gonna increase it. Yeah, so that's the scary part.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like for example, I had the homie who in LA, he was living in a place, his own house that he was living in. It was a rental, and then he found out that the landlord was going to sell the home. So he calls me and says, hey, is your garage available? And, I was like, yeah, sure. Like I just spent a whole month building out my garage into a studio to do like cooking videos and stuff. And I did like a few, and everyone loved Hungry Ant. And then I tore everything apart to let my homie live there. And like, that's what happens. You know what I mean? Like he didn't own the home.
Yeah.
Like he had to find a place to live, and he loved it because he saved so much money because now it was a garage conversion. He's like, yes, I love this. I'm saving like a quarter of the money that I was spending at renting.
Yeah.
So there's like benefits to things, but overall, I think being a homeowner is the best. Besides, the stressfulness of things breaking in your home, being a homeowner is stressful. The first time I bought a home, everything's great. You see the value goes up, the equity goes up. So you're like, okay, I'm ready to sell anytime. I'm good. I live in my house. I can, do whatever I want to it. I can change anything out. The backyard, I got my dogs. My dog can be here. He can take a shit all over the backyard if he wants to. It's fine, right? I can raise the walls, put all these plants. I'm not wasting money. A lot of times when you're renting a house, you're like, oh man, I want to make this yard nicer, but then you don't want to spend the money because you're like, it's not my house.
Yeah, you're paying someone else's mortgage.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it. My brother's renting, and I'm like, they're always doing the yard. I'm like, damn, this yard is nice. What are you guys doing here? You're spending so much money on this yard. You're gonna be out in like 2 years. So it's just being a homeowner is great in that way because you can customize your home. But the part that's hard is when you don't know, if you're not handy and you can't fix your house. That's when like you start freaking out.
Yeah.
There's one time when I had my dog. And, in the middle, at nighttime, he sleeps outside in the backyard. And in the middle of the night, it was like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. I woke up because I heard, psh, and I'm like, what is that? And then it's water. A pipe bursted outside, spraying so high into the sky.
Oh.
And it's so powerful. And like, I'm like, what is going on? And I run out there in my boxers and my, my tank top. And I'm trying to turn off this valve. Well, the valve can't turn off because the pipe's broken. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much water, there's so much money. How do I turn this off? And I knew nothing, And then I had to call my dad at 4 a.m. I'm like, hey, how do I turn off the water? He's like, there should be a water shut-off valve in the front of the house, but you need a tool to turn it off. You know what I mean? He's like, I'll come right now. So he comes and he brings this like 3-foot metal bar that's like 3 inches thick,
yeah,
and it looks like a jackhammer shape, like a T. And you got to open up this, like in front of your house, there's this concrete panel that you got to lift up, this cover. Well, in there is the shutoff valve for your main house, connecting from the city to the front of the house. So you use that tool and turn that knob, that metal knob, and you turn off the water. And I was like, whew, thank God. Thank God my dad knows this for being a homeowner, because I didn't. I'm like, damn, how much money did I just spend with that water squirting out like that?
I think it's stressful when you're a new homeowner, but I think that after you own a home so long, you collect these tools, like working on cars, like you start collecting these tools, and then now like, oh, that can't easy,
But here's the thing, like, now as an agent, the first thing I tell people is you have to know where your water shutoff valve is and your gas shutoff valve is, because if something leaks, you got to turn off right away.
Gas is best.
And so I didn't have to get my dad to bring the tool and do that from the sidewalk. There's a shutoff valve in front of your house, usually next to the sprinklers. And it's just a handle that you turn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that existed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like kind of like hidden in the dirt of the plants, and I had to scratch the dirt out and then find that handle. And now I knew, and I was like, oh my God, like, why didn't my agent tell me that? You know what I mean? So now I tell every client that, like, you need to know these homeowner things. So that's why I also tell people, like, you shouldn't get a house if your agent doesn't own a home, because how much can they teach you?
Yeah.
I can tell you how much this cost in my house, things like that, if something were to break. So being a homeowner is stressful if you don't know anything, but as the years go by, it gets easier and easier.
And I think the best part is that, especially when you have a family, is that stability. Like, you ain't worried year after year, oh shit, am I going to be able to afford this rent?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Am I going to get a pay increase to afford this $200, $300? I think some LA ones are like $500 increases, like insane.
Yeah.
So like with the house, your mortgage is fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that ain't going to change. It's going to go lower when you refinance.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry every year. Like, oh man, like I remember that, going through that feeling like, damn, the renewal's coming up. How much are you going to raise it this time? What's the surprise?
Yeah. And as a homeowner, you can choose what to do. Also, you can choose to either sell the home and make money, or start renting it out if you've saved enough to buy another
I have people
home.
that buy houses, and they're like, nah, I'm gonna rent and then rent this house. I'm gonna go rent and then rent this house out, and then we have people that do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would they go rent another home and rent theirs?
Sometimes like they can get more rent, and they live in a good area, so they get more rent for this house.
I see.
And it's paying off the mortgage, and they're making money, and then they rent for cheap, or like stay at their parents' house or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So everyone's situation is different, man.
Yeah.
Another bad and good thing about being a homeowner is that, okay, we have a client who just bought a condo, right? And there's a balcony, and the balcony needs repairs, and it's like $4,000 to fix. Now, a person who buys a condo, that's your first time homeowner. They don't have all the money to buy a normal size house, so they're buying a condo. So a $4,000 repair on a balcony is a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to fix it because of HOA, right? And so you would never think you got to dish out $4,000 and fix a balcony on being a homeowner like that, buying a cheap place. And so that hurts the homeowner. She's like, God, man, I never knew how hard it was to be a homeowner, and I got to dish out so much money. And then I told her, hold on, let me check some stuff. And I checked to see how much her house is worth now. It hasn't even been a year, and now her condo's worth $70,000 more. And she's like, okay, now I feel better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, you're gonna get that money back.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. And more.
It's your place.
So she's like, yeah, now I don't mind paying $4,000 in repairs because I got $70,000 in equity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one of the great things about being a homeowner.
Yeah.
So
The
it's
bigger
just-
picture is
so it's all
better.
about how do you feel about it, your situation, right? And it all depends. You look at the pros and cons and see how it is. I mean, if you find a great, I have clients that own property, I rent them out, and they're great landlords. Like they don't raise the rents.
Oh yeah.
As long as they take they go, as long as the tenant takes care of their house, we ain't gonna raise the rent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That's
then-
what I would do.
Yeah, so like they have solid renters, they're good landlords. Like if you find a landlord that's that good, dude, like but that's just rare.
Yeah.
A lot of landlords out there try to get money, man. Like they'll increase and stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it all depends on your situation and what you get, and everyone's, like I always said, everyone's scenario is different. So
Yeah. There's a lot of like closing costs and things like that for home though, right?
There are.
When
And
you
we're
buy-
actually-
Closing costs,
buying,
and then
yeah.
if you try to sell the house, and then the buyer's trying to get all these incentives too, and blah blah blah, right?
yes.
Yes.
But you need a good agent to stand the ground for you and, things like that. So, it always goes down to just hit up me and William.
See, like another question that I have is over time, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you own a home for 30 years. How much do you think you put into interest and then also repairs and taxes?
I think it just depends on how you maintain your house.
yeah,
It's like if you upkeep your car, then you're just doing minimum,
I think if you stay there for 30 years, you don't unless you're like that person where they calculate everything, like engineers, they'll calculate everything. But a lot of people, like normal people, they just see at the end of the 30 years and they sell the house, they just see, like when we sold my old house, right? We didn't think about how much money we put in. We just saw, oh shit, I'm making $250,000 this house. Right? That's a normal person would think.
Yeah.
They're not thinking, oh, how much money I put onto it, all these years, how much interest. All I was thinking was like, damn, man, I'm up $250,000.
When the
At that
interest rates were low, like at 3% time, and people were buying homes, if they stayed in that home and for 30 years, over that 30 years, how much is that interest? Like 160,000?
Yeah, like,
For 30 years? No way.
for 30 years, that's a good amount.
160,000?
No, I wouldn't say that much. I had to look. That's a big calculation. I have to look, but
I mean, I remember seeing my paperwork and it was something like that.
it says at the bottom when you buy your house, it'll tell you at the end how much interest you'll pay, basically.
That's what I saw in my paperwork. It was like if I stayed at this house, it would have been 166,000 that I would have paid over for interest. And so, to me, that's still worth it. So let's just say I spent about 200, 250 over 30 years on that home, interest, repairs, whatever. 30 years, I'm getting way more than 250,000 back.
Yeah, but a lot of normal people, they don't. 30 years from now, I'm not going to look back. Like, oh, that's how much pay rent. I'm happy getting at that moment. I'm happy. $250,000 in my
Now-
bank account. I'm happy.
If you're renting right now, $2,000 a month, that's what, $24,000 a year?
Yeah,
What's that times 10 years? 240,000.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Like
you
it-
lost 240,000 in 10 years.
But I wish rent was like $2,000.
So I'm talking about in 30 years, I lost 250,000. If we're not even including any equity anywhere, it's just money spent.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was
So
a,
like when you say like let's say you sold your house for $1 million, and you made 500,000, let's say,
Yeah.
like isn't like it doesn't really matter because all the houses now are $1 million that are the same size.
Yeah.
So then you still have to like downgrade your home or buy the same home.
It's more of like you can buy more house now with the money that you made. So normally people always upgrade. If they downgrade, that's because they're at a time in their life where they're getting now comfortable.
So basically, like your house is $1 million now. When
Like
you have 500, you have half down, 50% down now for $1 million house. So instead of buying a $1 million house, you're buying a $1.5 million house with $500,000 down. Your payment's about what you're paying
same.
now. Yeah, what you're paying
You
already.
trade up for free pretty much.
Yeah, so you're paying the same amount, but you got a bigger, more house because you use that 500,000 from your old house to put more down.
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's the best way to utilize buying and selling your home and upgrading is to keep your payments the same. Whatever equity you made, you
get a bigger house.
You use that to get a bigger house.
That's why
to
when
keep your payments the same.
Yeah, when you're talking about dream houses, like just take steps. Like you start with a condo. That's usually a condo, and then you take the money from there, get your next house, and eventually you'll get to your dream house. Or unless
Imagine all my clients right now who have condos. When they sell their condo, they can buy a single family home, and with that money that they have, they can use that as a down payment, and typically their monthlies will be around the same. Maybe it could be $1,000 more, but it really depends how much they want to put down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or they can use a little bit down and more to furnish the house or repair the house.
So technically, they can get a bigger house with the same monthly payments.
I see.
That's the goal, basically.
Right? So like for me, my first house was 750 square feet. My second house was 1,300 square feet. And now I'm living in 3,300 square feet. And every time it's all coming from the equities of the previous home.
Yep. Then we have 10,000 square feet.
And then 20.
Yeah. Junbi matcha serves high quality matcha straight from the farms in Japan. The matcha leaves are hand-picked by farmers to create the purest form of matcha straight to your cup. They currently have 5 locations around the U.S., 2 of them being in the L.A. area, which is Rowland Heights and Westwood, 1 in Princeton, New Jersey, 1 in Dallas, Texas, and their newest location on the Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, Hawaii. If you don't have a Junbi near you, you can always purchase their matcha tins or pre-made packs. The most popular are the blueberry matcha and the vanilla matcha. You can just mix it with water and you'll have the same great tasting Junbi teas at the comfort of your own home. How much do you need for a down payment? What amount is beneficial? What amount is not? And just everything about down payments. Because everyone always says, I'm trying to save for a house, and they don't even know what they're saving for. They think that they all need 20% down, and you don't, because William and I have helped someone buy a home for $14,000.
Yeah.
We've also helped someone buy a home with almost no money because there's programs that pay for all of it for them.
Yep.
So we've done it all. And so I guess, William, how much money do you need for a down payment?
Normally.
Well, actually, hold off.
Holding on.
We got Justin, who's a first-time home buyer. How much do you think you need to buy a first home?
Well, the house that I want
Yeah.
is like $600K.
Okay.
600K.
And I've always been told you need like 20%.
No.
That's what I've been told.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So that brings me to like 100K or something.
20%.
Like 120?
Yeah, 120.
Like 120. Yeah.
So-
Asian math right there. Dude.
No, that's not Asian math. That's just from doing a lot of transactions on my own where that's exactly the perfect amount. But why does someone tell you need 20%?
That's just what I've been told all the time. Like
That you need
from my
20%?
parents. Yeah, from my parents.
But they don't tell you why?
No.
They just say, hey, you need 20% to buy a home?
Yep.
That's false. What is the least?
From friends and everybody.
The least you can do, because I know you have good credit. You're handsome. I'm just playing.
And I'm
It's,
handsome.
18,000, 3%.
On a $600,000
On a
home?
$600,000 home, 3%, $18,000.
That's all you need, $18,000, bro.
Here's the catch, though. You have to pay mortgage insurance, but if you have good credit, it could be like less than $100 a month.
What is mortgage insurance and why do you have to pay it?
Mortgage insurance, because yes, technically you do need 20% down, because the bank wants to have like 80% loan to values. If you have less than that, you have to pay mortgage insurance so that if you default, the bank still makes up that difference.
So
Okay.
it's on anything lower than 20%?
Correct. So that was a lot of lender technicalities that he was
Yes.
explaining. To dumb it down for us a little bit, for me as a homeowner, what that means is that if you put less than 20% down, the bank is saying it's a big risk to give you a loan.
Yep.
So I need some more reassurance. So that's what this private mortgage insurance is, a PMI, where if I'm going to lend you a bigger amount of money and you are a risky person, you got to pay me a little extra.
Yep. To insure, like an insurance that.
That's what it means. And so that's why your family and friends say you need 20%. So it's weird when people never say why you need the 20%. And I get it. It's because it's to benefit you. But if you don't have 20%, you can still buy a home. And that's what stops a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because
yeah.
I can tell you right now, almost more than 50% of people buying a home do not have 20%.
Oh, no. No way.
Most people have 3 to 10%.
If that.
You guys hear my dog barking in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we're gonna keep rolling here.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 to 10% is the usual case for all of my clients.
Yeah, I feel like isn't there like a statistic where it's like 80% of people only have like $1,000 in their bank or something like that?
Really?
Yeah.
I know. And there is a statistic. Like I don't know about 80%.
Yeah, I don't know
but
what
it's
it is.
high.
That's just a
It
random.
is high. It is high.
It did take me like 10 years to save $1,000 when I was younger.
So it's high. So, I mean, it's beneficial for both ways. Some people don't mind paying the mortgage insurance because they want to save the extra 15% or 17% to like furnish the home or just have money in the savings account. Because if they do the whole amount, now they're kind of like, I don't have any more money in the savings. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons. Like everyone's in a different situation, right?
Yep.
Some people are like, well, I don't have good credit, or maybe my credit card's maxed out, or whatever it is, and they can't buy furniture, so they're gonna utilize, saving their down payment for the furniture. So it's like kind of like credit card in a sense.
Yeah.
Right?
So like it just depends on depends on the situation. I mean,
but
if you have bad credit, like the mortgage insurance is based on how risky your loan is. So if you have a lower credit score, your mortgage insurance will be a little high. And then
when he says when the loan is risky, he means the person is risky.
The person is more risky. They base it on your FICO score basically. So that means you're a little bit riskier. So that means you're a higher percentage of defaulting. Not saying you are, but just statistically, you're a higher percent of defaulting.
You fall in the category of people that
they won't pay us back.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to send some sharks after. You know what I mean? That's like.
So, but the good thing is, guys, it doesn't stay with you forever. So it will fall off once you have 20% of equity, which means that in today's times, that's very fast. Yeah. Talking about in like maybe 1 to 2 years when value goes up on your home, it'll probably fall off, and you can refinance or automatically fall off, right? But does it take longer to fall off automatically than you doing it manually?
Yes, because it's usually based on when it's automatic, it's based on the original appraisal. So when you bought the house, so when you do refinance, if you know your prices are higher, then you kind of refinance. We can just do it quickly, and then you save money anyways for the interest rate.
Can you just pay for an appraiser without doing a refinance?
I think you can request the bank to do it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, without doing a refinance. So I would double check though.
That's cool.
Because every bank's different. Every bank's different. So I would double check like what's the general acceptances.
The best case scenario for someone who doesn't have 20% and wants a PMI to fall off fast is maybe putting down 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
You do that, it'll fall off really fast.
Quicker,
you still have some money for furnishing, things like that. So
you get a better rate too.
Huh?
A little bit better rate. So the more down payment, a better rate too.
Yeah, when you do like 3% down, it'll be a long time before that falls off.
Yeah.
But
so 3%, I'm going to clarify, 3% is for a very conventional loan. And then there is if you have to do the FHA, first time home buyer, that's 3.5%. So a little bit higher down, but sometimes it's a better rate, but they're a little bit more strict on the housing stuff. So
yeah,
I see. Okay.
So guys, you don't need a lot of money for a down payment to get a home.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, the less you put, the more your monthly payments will be.
Yeah, correct.
The more money you put down, the less your monthly payments will be.
Yes.
So what is the perfect amount that you recommend for a down payment?
I like saying 5 to 10%.
Really?
Why? Well, I mean, 20% to be if you have money, 20% would be perfect.
Yeah.
But if you want to save a little bit, I would say 5 to 10%, because that's a little bit over the risk barrier. Because you're like 3% is like you're right there, like the maximum. So a little bit over. But I have no problem. Like I like, and depending on the client, 3% is fine too. There's not a big difference between the 3 to like 15% usually. So. So any amount, but I feel comfortable. Okay, let me rephrase it. I feel comfortable with 3 to 10%, that'd be good. If you want to save.
Okay.
But
So-
perfect, 20% down.
So like William was saying, 14,000, you can buy a house, right?
Yep.
And that's not including closing costs that we're going to talk about in the next episode. So
Yeah.
make sure you listen to the next episode about
Closing
closing costs. But
People forget about that.
You have 14,000 plus closing costs, or if you have a good agent or it's a good time in the market, that can be completely gone.
Yep.
And it's just really 14,000. So, like I said, listen to the next episode for that stuff. But how do you feel now knowing that you don't need 20% down, Justin?
A lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not. How am I gonna save $120,000?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could if I really am strict on my spending and all
Cup
that
of
stuff.
noodles
for the
every
night.
day.
Yeah, for a couple of years or something. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of our clients, they come to us like that. I'm like, no, dude, like 3%, you're good.
Yeah. And it's, I think back then, most people were like, yeah, I want 20% down because I can't afford $3,000 a month. But I think with the way inflation hit and the way people are getting paid now, like minimum salaries mostly are like $3,000 a month, and most people who buy homes is with their spouse or girlfriend, boyfriends. So it's kind of like double income.
Yep.
So when people see like, okay, I can do 10% down and my payments are like $3,500 a month on a home, we can do that because our income's like $6,000 to $8,000. So the times are different than when our parents bought a home. You know what I mean? Like they're struggling paycheck to paycheck because they're feeding 3 to 4 kids, things like that. You right now, you're by yourself, and it's just you and your girl. And like, that's the perfect time. You guys don't have any other expenses besides yourselves.
So much, I envy you. Go to a restaurant, only pay for 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I went to eat Lucille's barbecue at Red Rock, and we got one dish for the 4 of us. It was a 5-bone beef rib, and then the server's like, "That's it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." And it's like, all right, the kids each get their own beef bone rib. My wife gets one, I get one, so that's 4, and there's 1 extra. And I'm like, all right, let's cut up this piece for this kid, cut up this piece for this kid, and I'll just take a little bit and give the rest of the bones to my wife, And I didn't eat any of the sides, let everyone else eat it. And man, times are different when you have a family, Like
I bet.
Like I have money to buy another dish, but it's just like
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. I feel like it's not worth it yet. I can still survive off this.
I usually eat the scraps for my family.
The scraps,
I
yeah.
always give them the good food, and then like when you're done, I'll just finish it up.
I kind of
That's what parents do usually. Yeah.
I also use it as an excuse to like that's my diet.
Hit your macros.
Yeah.
Don't go around calories.
Yeah, I don't want the carbs. You guys can have all the carbs. My kids need it. This is the most popular matcha tin. It gives you the energy you need to prepare for your day without the crash, mainly because of its high quality. Make your own matcha at home with their daily ceremonial grade matcha. All you have to do is scoop, whisk, and enjoy. So this matcha tin is 100% pure shade grown, finely milled matcha. It's sourced from a 100-year-old farm in Japan. It pairs deliciously with other ingredients, and it fuels you to prepare daringly for your adventures ahead. Right now, we're going to talk about closing costs. Everyone never knows what these 2 things are, and we want to be very transparent and help you guys
surprises.
out. So, William, you are the lender. What are closing costs?
Closing costs is what it costs to close your loan.
What does that mean?
So basically, closing costs is, of course, there's a lender fee, right? That doesn't pay me. It pays all the processors, underwriters, and stuff. And then there's property taxes.
Yeah.
People get you own a property now. The government wants a piece of it. So property taxes, your homeowner's insurance is on there, and then the escrow and title fees. And when you're buying a house, unfortunately, you don't get to choose what company you use. The seller chooses that. So it can range from expensive to average.
And what is this amount that's normal?
I would say 2 to 3% of your purchase price.
So if someone's buying a $500K home, how much is that?
$500K, I would say about like average 10 to 15,000.
Okay.
Wow.
So in the last episode,
I don't think that includes. It does not include your the down payment.
Okay, so in the last episode we spoke about how much you need for down payment, which is like $14,000 minimum.
Yep.
And now you're talking about how much? Another
Double
15 grand for closing costs. So you need a little bit less than 30 grand to buy a home.
Yeah. So what did you say? 500,000?
Yeah. Justin has always been told you need 20% down to buy a home. Imagine having 120,000 plus closing costs. Now we're talking about $135,000.
I don't want to buy a home anymore.
Well, we're saying you can buy a home with just 30 grand.
Yeah.
You know.
So like on the good side, the 10,000 closing costs.
Okay.
So it all depends.
25 grand maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Because we done it with 25 grand.
We did do a 25 grand.
Yeah. Well, the
closing
total,
cost.
everything. Yeah.
Yep. All in 25 grand.
Yep.
And I'm so happy that we can get people that, because there's
Yep.
so many people who are like, I don't have money to get a home, but I want a home. I have kids, you know, and stuff like that. Like they need a home. We need to be in a good school area and stuff like that. So it's about their family and their life.
Yep.
And they're like, I don't have money, but all I have is 30 grand. I'm going all in to buy this home.
Yep.
You know,
And we get it done.
We've done that multiple times.
Yep.
You know, and I have to make sure, like, hey, if you're going all in and clearing out your bank account for this, are you going to be okay in 6 months? Are you going to be okay in 1 year? Because I don't want you to stress out and then have to sell your home.
Yep.
So a lot of things also, people are like, I can't afford a home because if I lose my job, that's it. Like, what am I going to do? Okay, here's the thing, guys. You can sell your home. You're not stuck with it forever. So if you go all in, yeah, you can sell your home. Obviously, you don't want to sell it when the market goes down. Yeah. The moment it goes back up, then you want to sell. So that means waiting it out for like a year from a bad time.
I think also rent it out.
Yeah, yeah. So I think one of our clients, she's I can like we're gonna go all in, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rent the garage out, and you know, it was like an ADU and make up the extra. So there's always ways around it. There's
all these options. So one good thing about so if you're a seller, and you have closing costs, so what we're talking about previously or just a minute ago was closing costs for a buyer, right? 30 grand to buy a home, down payment plus closing costs.
Yep.
For a seller, if you're selling your home, closing costs are different because you don't have a loan, you don't have a lender. So you're skipping all that.
Yep.
All that money doesn't pertain to you. But what pertains in your closing costs are the escrow fees, any other types of taxes, could be some liens if you have liens, and the biggest one is your agent's commission as a seller.
Yep.
When the buyer, you don't have an agent's commission because the seller pays for it. So that's your closing costs as a seller.
So the seller pays both commissions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They pay both agents' commissions.
Now, are you able to roll the closing costs into a loan?
No.
No, it just has to be up front.
Yes. So closing costs is out of your own pocket. It cannot be rolled into your loan.
Do you know how many clients tell me, hey, I know that I can roll this into the loan. My brother's done it. That's what they tell me.
Cannot. Maybe I think someone told us that, but that was like 30 years ago.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
see.
bro, like, you know what? Like 30 years, I mean, before the market crashed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now you can't do
It's
that.
very different now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the banks want their money up front for the work that they did.
Yeah. So they're not going to roll it on because they don't lose money. So, especially if you're paying, it's not the bank. You're paying escrow, the different company. Property taxes, that's the county.
I got a question about the property taxes and closing costs.
Okay.
What is this timeline of the property tax? Are you paying your own property tax for the future of that year?
Yeah. So basically, every county is different. I'm more familiar with LA and Orange County. So your property taxes are due November and I think in March.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. 2 months. They cut half. They cut it half to make it easier. So what you do whenever you close, let's say you close in February, we have to collect. And we're going to pay the property tax to lender. So we have to collect enough when we're closing it. We have to collect enough money to having that escrow account so that when November comes, we have enough money to pay those taxes due.
So if you bought the house in February, you're paying
collect
property tax from February to November?
Yeah, and we collect in January's.
Oh, so the whole year.
Yeah, we have to collect enough. We have to make sure we have enough in the account to pay your property tax when it comes due.
I see.
Yeah.
So, okay.
For November payment, and then for March payment, we have that extra 3 months or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're paying your own property tax. You're not paying the sellers.
So technically, it's not a fee.
Yeah.
It's you have to pay the taxes.
A lot of people think that they're paying the seller's property taxes.
No, it's your property tax.
Here's another thing. A lot of people get scared. They're like, damn, closing costs is like 15 grand. I'm losing 15 grand.
Yeah.
Well, you're not losing 15 grand. Some of it is your property tax that you're
Majority
paying
of it, yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So you got to pay that no matter what.
Yep.
So you're not losing that money.
And the homeowner's insurance.
Yeah. And then the other thing also is part of closing costs can be your first month's mortgage or even 2 months or 3 months.
Interest. Yeah.
So basically, I always ask my clients, hey, after you buy this home, when is your first mortgage due? Is it this coming month or the month after? And a lot of times it's the month after.
Yep.
So you also pay 1 month of mortgage ahead of time. So now you're including property tax and 1 month of mortgage in there.
Yeah. So no free days. So basically, your first official mortgage due date, say we buy what today is July. It will be we bought a house and we close this month. Your first official mortgage due date is September, right? But in the closing cost, we already calculated the interest of August in it.
So there you go. Some people are like, man, that's what I'm saying. You just lost 15 grand.
Yeah.
No,
you're paying already.
5 grand of that is already going to property tax and or even more is going to your home.
Yep.
So it's actually not that much.
No.
Is there any way to not pay closing costs?
There is. If you have a good agent and it's a good time in the market.
What do you mean by that?
Well, actually, there's two ways. I know he has one. I have one. So as an agent, I can always negotiate. So we did another episode, like a week ago, where we talked about is after summer the best time to buy a home? Because usually it's during the summer. So from November to December, inventory slows down. People aren't selling because of the holidays. And so because people aren't selling, people aren't buying, the ones that do need to sell are in desperate need, which means that they are willing to negotiate. So during that time, when I have those clients, I'm able to negotiate like 30 to 50K off the listed price. I'm also able to negotiate 2-1 buy down programs. I'm also able to negotiate closing costs paid for by the seller. And the reason why the seller wants to do this is because no one's buying their home. Yeah. And so the prices are dropping. And they're like, well, instead of doing a price drop for 30K, how about I keep the price the same and I'll give the 30K to the buyer and he could use it however he wants. Yeah. And that's where you use it for closing costs and any special programs that you want.
Because they're using it as equity, so it's not paying out like literally out of his own. It is out of his own pocket, but not like out of his checking account.
Yeah,
it's from the profit.
It's just more strategy on the seller's part. They can be like, well, let's make it easy, and I'll just drop it 30K. But most people are like, they don't look at it that way. They're still like, that's not going to help me that you dropped the home 30K. It didn't do much for the loan. It's like $100 a month. I'd rather you give me 30K so I don't have to put upfront costs, take out all that money from a bank account, pay for closing costs and all these things. Yeah. So those are the times where we can negotiate free closing costs paid for by the seller. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to do that. Now, another way is there are programs.
Yes.
Through the lender, like William.
Yes, we have. Well, at least in California, we have it's called Zip Loan. So basically, we can lend you. The program will lend you money to cover the clothing costs, and then it'll just be due at the end when you sell your house, basically.
Whoa! That's
when you sell your house,
mm-hmm.
What does the interest look like on
0%.
that?
I think for the Zip Loan, like 1%. But it's like 1%. It's cheap. God. It's not even that crazy.
Why don't I do that? That's only like $1,500.
But the rate's higher. The catch is the interest rate is higher
for the actual 30-year.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So they hide it in there.
Yeah.
Got it. Because I was
so
like,
what does that look like?
when I was looking at it, it was like a normal rate was like 6.2. That's like a couple months ago. The average mortgage rate was 6.25, and the mortgage rate for that loan, with using that loan, is like 7 point, almost 1% over more.
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
No, that's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
I don't think it's worth it. Yeah,
no, because if it was just 1% over the 30 years, you're talking about $1,500. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
instead of putting 15 grand.
But
when you're talking about 1% every month, then that's like maybe $200, $400 more a month.
Yeah, or we have, that's one program, and the other program is kind of similar to the Dream for All. Because you remember the Dream for All, you were able to borrow and use the closing costs. There's also another program like that where you pay when you sell your house, same thing.
Yeah.
But up to 3% they'll lend you,
Yeah.
which is almost like the closing cost. But they also the fee hidden in there, like a 1.5. So technically, you're only getting 1.5% of the loan,
Yeah.
which still helps for
So,
closing costs.
Bottom line is you can get closing costs for free, whether it's
lowered,
negotiations
yeah.
or from programs, but it has to be the right time, and it's rare.
Yep.
Because normally when people buy homes, it's not during that right time.
Yep.
It's when everyone else wants to buy. So when everyone else wants to buy, these things don't exist.
Yep.
Okay. So it has to be the right time, guys, and in the right market.
Just remember
So
nothing. Remember nothing is free.
nothing is free,
nothing
but
is
also
free.
nothing is impossible.
Yes.
This is the matcha whisk. It's electric. It's very convenient to use. The electric matcha whisk is a fun, easy way to make matcha in a flash when you don't have the time or the space to break out your entire set. So you can still enjoy smooth, frothy matcha in just seconds, no matter where you are. So this is the bamboo matcha whisk. It's the most traditional way to make your matcha every morning. It'll help elevate it. It's a ritual that they used to do, and this is a 100-prong traditional bamboo matcha whisk. And it's foldable, so you can take it on the go. Very easy to use. I actually love using this. It's just makes the whole experience that much better. And then this ladle is the way I use to actually get the serving size for the matcha. I get the right amount by using this ladle, put it into the bowl, and I start whisking away. And just like that, by adding some water, it's ready to drink. So visit one of the locations near you so you can get some matcha, try it out. And if you guys aren't near any of the locations, go to junbishop.com. You can use our promo code WINNING to get 10% off anything on the website. I think this is a great way for you guys to really try this instead of using anything else for caffeine, such as sodas, coffees, pre-workouts. This is very clean. I do this myself and I love it.
Is buying a single family home better or a condo?
Ooh.
Why do we want to ask that question? What's the concerns with this?
Maybe like HOAs
Costs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like
in California or a lot of places, when you buy a single family home, there are no HOAs.
Some.
Right? Some.
Really?
Half, depending what
Yeah.
a newer,
It's not
depending
common.
on
okay.
new neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It is not common in LA to have an HOA unless you're in a condo or a townhouse.
In LA, yeah.
Okay.
The newer, like Orange County, you might see more
Now,
because they're newer builds.
yeah.
you know?
So like Irvine,
Yeah,
you'll
for
probably
sure.
see HOAs.
For sure.
Las Vegas, you'll see HOAs. That was weird for me. When I first moved to Vegas, I'm like, whoa, why is everything HOA? Like, it's just a house. So we want to talk about, like condos, townhomes, they're always HOAs.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what's better? Let's get out of HOAs for a second. Whether you buy a condo, townhouse, or a single family home, it really depends on your situation
Yeah.
and what you need. Sometimes you buy something and it's too much house and you don't need a single family home. Single family homes are perfect for people who have multi-use. That means that you have a family or you need like an office or you need storage. You just need the space.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
condos are
backyard.
for people like first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
It's just boyfriend, girlfriend,
Start off.
first time getting married or like just got married. Sorry.
First time getting
first
Yeah, I
time.
mean, you could be married, you got divorced and getting married again. You still need a condo. Go back
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah.
Restart your life. But basically, it's for people who like, they just want to start their life and they don't have the kids yet. They don't have the dogs yet. They just,
They don't want a huge yard.
yeah,
You know?
they don't want to take care of things or they
Yeah.
want a pool and it doesn't have to be maintained.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
HOA maintains a
Yep,
pool.
yep.
So condos are great for people starting out. And I think that's perfect because you don't really want to buy too much house. For you, Justin, what are you looking at buying? Like, are you looking at a condo or are you looking at a single family home?
I'm looking at a single family home.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's condos that I look at for like investment purposes.
Yeah.
And I always like see it as like, okay, we can move in there for a little bit and then rent it out or like remodel it, sell it or whatever. But for the most part, looking for a single family home.
Yeah, I think the priority is yourself first and really looking for that single family home. Because if you buy the rental unit first, if you keep it, you might not qualify for another loan.
What do you mean if you keep? if I keep
If
it.
you were to keep it and then now you want to buy a single family home,
Oh, because of the debt.
the debt is too
Yeah.
much debt.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But also he can write off a lot of that debt for you.
Yeah, there's
so
ways
it
around
really
it.
depends.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
it just gets a little more dangerous.
no, yeah.
But so the benefits of living in a condo is it's almost like half renting, right? Like when you have an HOA, they take care of the pool, they take care of
Outside,
the maintenance,
gardening.
right? The lights, everything. So the paint of your house, the roof, they will take care of those things that's outside. And so it's like I said, like it's renting. You just call the HOA and they fix it for you.
Is that the same for like a home too?
Home
The
HOA.
HOA?
Every HOA is different. Yeah, you see what they cover. Like there's HOA near where I live. It's like $500 a month, but it comes with fast internet too. So all HOAs is a little different.
It's the difference is pretty big because with a condo, it's almost like an apartment complex where
Yeah.
everything is connected. So you can't expect the homeowner to pay for the roof that's breaking or the leak that's going on.
Yeah.
Connected.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have a single family home, the HOA can't expect you to do your roof.
Yeah. So
Because
just cover
it's not
less.
attached.
Yeah.
I think the HOA for like a single family home is a lot lower than like a condo or townhome.
It is. So like I've seen HOAs for condos be like anywhere from $200 something to $600
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, I don't want HOA because it's expensive. But you don't even know what the HOA includes.
Yeah.
If it's expensive, it's most likely because it includes utilities. 98% of the time.
Yep.
Utilities and then
Pool. Some have like
Pool,
some
yeah.
have like gyms.
Amenities.
But
yeah, amenities.
the ones with amenities, they can still be in like the $300 range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the ones that are 500 is because it includes water, trash,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, trash.
sometimes gas or electricity.
Internet too.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and that's when you're like, that is worth it because if you were to pay those bills on your own,
Same.
you're paying the
more.
same thing,
Yeah.
or more. So that's why I would never count it out when people say I don't want HOA.
Yeah. You just gotta look at what it covers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen some like in
yeah.
I think it was like in Diamond Bar, and it was $550 a month, and it included no utilities,
That's crazy.
and that place couldn't sell.
Yeah.
And another thing is people don't want HOAs because they're like, that's gonna raise on me. I had one client that's like, my parents have an HOA from 30 years ago, and it keeps raising on them, and their house is paid off or their condo is paid off. Like, why do they have to keep paying more and more even though it's paid off?
Yeah, because it's part of the community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, that's why people don't like it. I do like the size of condos. Sometimes they're bigger than certain homes. I like the prices of it.
Usually a little bit lower.
Yeah. I like it. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. For me,
It's
I
like
just don't.
urban living.
Yeah. I don't like having like a neighbor right here.
Yeah,
man.
that's the thing.
I think that's what I'm tired
Some
of.
of the new houses too, are like the single family homes, but like yo, like your neighbors like
Oh yeah.
you open the
yeah.
window, hey neighbor.
Like, especially like the 3-story
yeah,
homes.
yeah.
Those things are like this close,
Yeah.
no backyard.
No
I'm just
backyard,
like,
and like
what the heck?
you're looking out. Oh, it's in someone else's living room.
Yeah.
This brings me up to why we also have an inventory shortage on housing. Is because when COVID hit and everyone was like, I don't want to be next to neighbors, they were all selling condos that were living in. People who were living in apartments were moving out and buying homes. And everyone wanted their own private space to be away from other neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want COVID. So that's why we also have a housing shortage. And everyone's like, I don't want to be with 100 people in this complex, So that was a huge reason why we have an inventory shortage right now. It's because of that mentality. So the other things with a single family home, is that better than a condo? Not necessarily, because like I said, you might be buying too much house.
Yep.
But also some single family homes have HOAs and some don't.
Yep.
In Vegas, they all do. Almost like 80%.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it good to have an HOA when you have a single family home? People say, what do you say, Justin?
I think so.
You think so? Why?
Just certain things around the neighborhood are taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lived in neighborhoods where we don't have it, and you get to see like what happens
Yeah.
in those neighborhoods.
So to be more specific, when I lived in California and my first home, I could only afford $380,000 or $350,000. It was in a more ghetto area. So my house looked clean because I'm a first time home buyer. I'm passionate about my house. My neighbors, it's trash, right? You got brown grass going up, covering, the bottom of their house. They don't mow their lawns. The roof's not fixed. There's trash outside. And so that's bad. Do I care? Not necessarily, but when do I care? That's when it matters. It matters when I want to sell that home. Because when people want to buy it, they see that neighbor and they're like, oh,
I don't want
that's
that
how.
neighbor.
Yeah.
And then you got 5 more neighbors down the street that's like that. Like, okay, well, that's why your value of the home is 300 something thousand.
Yeah.
Because it's not kept well. And so when you have homes with HOAs, everyone's house looks great. The lawns look perfect. They're always cut. I just got hit with a violation last week on my home. They sent a picture showing that I have weeds growing. You need to pull the weeds. And I was like, oh, shit, I didn't even know I had weeds. I thought they were plants.
It's kind of weird because if you're paying HOA, wouldn't they?
Wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, they do it.
Nope. They are.
The house HOA a little different.
Yeah,
That's
they're
so
making
weird.
me do it.
Yeah, and it's kind of restricted, and with that's a pro and a con because you can't really do anything you want to the front of the house.
Yeah. So like the pro is that, okay, I got to pull the weeds myself. Fine. But now I know every neighbor's house looks really good.
Yeah.
Their paint looks good. It's not chipping.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
roof looks
Yeah.
good. There's no trash out. So that means everyone's value goes up together, right? So when the neighbor sells his home, people like the community, the block that we're on, and they want to pay more because it's so clean.
Wait, so what are you paying for then?
You're
If
paying.
you have to do it yourself.
Well, there's
The gate.
at the gate outside. You're also paying for the street lights that we have. You're paying for the community water being used at the the grass areas in the front of the community. For it to look nice, for your neighborhood to look nice. There's certain corners that have plants. They need to hire lawnmowers, things like that. So
Some have security. That drive around.
yeah, some have security, guards.
Yep.
Some have like our little park in the front has a trash can, right? Someone's got to come and clean out that trash. You also have doggy bags. So when my dog goes poop, they have doggy bags, So you're paying for all those things. For the most part, it's not worth it. But Vegas being that type of city where everyone has HOAs, there's nothing you can do about it. But like William was saying, they're cheaper. My HOA is like $60 a month.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. That's cheap.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. I'll pay $60
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah. Yeah. The condo and townhome ones are usually like hundreds.
How is that? Is that like a separate like check that you have
Yep.
to?
Separate bill.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I hate it because these HOAs run like old people.
Yeah.
So they don't.
Some of
usually
them are
have
run by old people
Yeah.
that
They don't
that
have
lived there a long time.
websites.
Yeah.
I can't do like automatic payments, auto pay. So every month I gotta write a check, and like I think for the first 6 months I was living here, I only paid it twice instead of every month because I'm waiting for the mail to pay it, and I don't see the mail for it.
Oh, I see.
And then I get a letter saying you are delinquent for 3 months. I'm like, bro, how do I pay you guys? I've been wanting to pay you.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
Yeah, that's something like some of the older condos and stuff. Like they'll have like the person that lives there for a long time be the head of it. It's like self-selected. The people that own it, they form like a board.
yeah.
And it gets
That's weird.
it gets ugly
So-
sometimes.
In terms of having HOA, is it a good thing? It's only good because it creates more equity value to your home because
Yeah.
it looks better. Everyone is keeping it nice,
Yep.
right?
And for
When you don't-
condos, the roof is covered and all that.
Yeah. Like I've also lived in other homes where the neighbor's garage is all dented in because they ran into it. And they
Yeah.
never fix it because they don't want to pay for it. Stuff like that. People go, why is there so much trash outside this guy's house? I don't know, man. I'm sorry. But with HOAs, you get violations. Pull your trash cans in. Pull your weeds. I also got hit with another violation, and this is ridiculous. They said, hey, you haven't done your backyard yet.
Whoa.
And then I have about 1 year to do my backyard. I have about 1 year to do my backyard. And so it's been about 7 months that I've been here, or eight months. but they hit me with like, "You've been here for a year." I'm like, "What?" So now I gotta prove to them, show them paperwork that I haven't been here for a year and stuff
So
like
you
that.
you have to do your backyard.
I have to. I wasn't going to, because this is my investment home.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't gonna live here for more than a year.
Yeah, yeah.
But then the market turned, so I have to now. And so my goal was to buy this home. When the community's done, I'm selling it. I'm not doing the yard. And now that I'm living
like
here,
you just have to do something.
What do you have
basic,
to do? Yeah,
no?
what do you have to do?
yeah, you just gotta do anything to your yard.
Oh.
Like put turf,
Oh.
concrete, whatever. But you
Okay.
guys say that's easy. This guy says
No, not easy. Just you don't have to like do something grand.
You don't have to do anything grand, but the basic cost, the lowest I've seen neighbors and everyone I know spend on a yard that's just turf is like 15, 20 grand.
Wow.
So at your base, that's what you're paying.
I'm just gonna, you need help, dude? I'm just going to just dig in.
You can, like, well, I mean, it's hard. I mean, the easiest would be I would go get a guy from Home Depot.
Oh, yeah.
Go rent a jackhammer to flatten out the ground and have him do that for one day.
Yeah.
$300.
Yeah, and then
For
buy the
gravy.
turf.
And I can buy the turf and do everything myself. Nail in the turf, all that stuff. I'll probably get that done myself. If I did it, maybe about $5,000, maybe $6,000.
Damn, turf is expensive, right?
Turf is very expensive.
I don't like turf.
You know, you can do concrete yourself, but then I got to hire more Home Depot guys to turn the concrete and things like that. Now, if you guys do concrete in your backyard, I've learned, like, because I used to do that myself with my dad in our own yards. He was a contractor. And so when we do it ourselves, you do it in a wheelbarrow and you keep mixing it with the shovels. And it's great because you're paying, you know, the guys to do it. You're not paying for this big machine to come that's, you know, that has a big turning thing in the back.
Yeah.
You know, that gets expensive. But the problem is when you're shoveling concrete into a hole, after about a few years, the concrete can settle more. If you don't have
Lower,
good
it
packers,
gets a little
right?
lower.
If it's not done right, it's not packed right, it just starts sinking. But when you get like those big machines, there's so much pressure going in that you won't have that problem. So it gets expensive. You do concrete right. And that's also a couple $1,000s.
Is grass
Yeah.
more expensive? Like real grass?
Real grass is not more expensive. That's cheaper.
Okay.
It's probably the expensive part is probably like the water system. No,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so. I've installed it myself before too. That first house I bought for $350,000, I installed the sprinklers myself in the front yard, and all I did was I just dug the line through with a shovel, put pipes in, got some of this blue glue thing, and put it at every joint,
yeah,
and then that was it.
yeah. Me
Connected
and my
it.
dad did that. in the
Yeah,
backyard,
it's
yeah.
actually not that hard. But now that I got hit that violation, I'm like, oh crap! Now I gotta show them permits of me actually trying to do something to the yard. And so now we're looking at pools. We looked at pools last year, but I was
Pools are
like,
expensive.
yeah, pools are expensive. So last year we got 3 quotes back in October 2022,
Oh,
and you know, it's like 50 grand, 60 grand, and 70 grand for a pool.
okay.
You know, and
I've
we
heard
didn't do
like 100, 200,000.
Yeah, that's for a really nice, like,
Yeah.
full-on pool,
Okay.
with backyard, spas, heaters, everything. I'm minimizing it,
Got
you
it.
know? Instead of putting, like, tiles on the floor, I'm doing a spray deck.
Got it.
Spray deck is, like, white concrete for pools, and they spray it white to make it look nice. Usually it comes in gray, you know? So instead of getting white traveltine outside where it looks all modern, I can do a spray deck. That's fine, you know? It's not a forever home. But yeah, so like we reopened up the talks of buying a pool again. So that's bad about HOAs. But once you do it, your
The
value
value.
is so good.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have a pool now.
Yeah.
We go skinny dipping. I mean, yeah, swimming. That's like.
So yeah, I'm able to do whatever I want with my house. Even though I get hit with violations, I can still buy a custom garage door.
Okay.
I can buy a pool for my yard.
Whatever.
Can you change the front of the door? Because some of these
can.
houses, like the color's like random green or something.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't like
what?
that. It's weird.
Oh, you can change the door because I know some HOAs are pretty strict about how your house front looks too.
Yeah.
I think that's more for like townhomes and condos.
Got it.
Where single family home, there's just, you can do more. You just get hit with like not keeping it up.
Got it.
That's all. So in the end, is it better to buy a condo or a single family home?
Your situation.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. It really
Single
doesn't.
family.
It all depends
everyone
what you
likes
want.
single family.
Everyone wants it in your family, but
Okay,
yeah.
here's the final answer or question to that. what will make you the most money when you sell it in the future?
Single family.
Single family home.
It is.
So I think that is the better option.
It is.
Okay. The condos and townhomes will have slower growth.
Yes.
But hey, when you live in a place like Arcadia, a condo and townhome is like 800 to $1 million.
Yep. The one in Fullerton, $1 million.
San Francisco, 1.5 mil for a condo.
For 900 square feet. For like 2.4. Yeah.
So who knows? It depends where you live. Doesn't matter. But I hope you guys learned a lot about this. And you guys write down in the comments what else you want us to talk about. William comes on here pretty often. We are going to have a lot more guests on here as well. A lot of business speakers that you guys are going to see.
Yep.
Let us know who you want on as a guest. And just drop it in the comments, guys. I hope you enjoyed our podcast. We'll see you on the next Win episode. All right, guys. So head over to thejumbishop.com and you can get 10% off anything on the website by using our promo code WIN.